So, welcome. Thank you for joining the local pain, or the first local pain collective session for 2022. I'm Mika. I'm going to be the facilitator for the first half of the year. This session's being recorded, so if you have any concerns around that, please send me an email directly. The recordings and any resources that we refer to during the sessions will be included in an event summary, so that people who aren't able to make it can still join in some way. So before we begin, I'd like to share an acknowledgement of country. My feet are placed on Kaurna land on the Fleurieu Peninsula, which is an hour south of Adelaide. I imagine most of you are in the southwest on Wadandi Budja. And I'd like to pay acknowledgement to the traditional custodians of the land in which we stand today. I pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. So thanks for joining. It's great to see, although a small interest, hopefully the rest can join after with the recording. This is now the 4th year. Is that right, Abby? I think that the collective's been running. So I'm really coming in after some incredible foundational years where Abby and a supportive group of clinicians have worked really hard to create an initiative with some momentum. Most of you are familiar with Pain Revolution, but I'd like to, and the Collectives project, but I'd like to review this now to look at how we're evolving in 2022, the direction and the potential that these sessions can have. So I'll just share my screen. Can everyone see that there? Yeah, cool. So Pain Revolution, it's a grassroots non-for-profit organisation founded by Professor Lorimer Moseley. It's made up of researchers, clinicians, people with lived experience of pain, industry partners, and peak bodies, all with one really big vision, and that is that all Australians have the knowledge, skills, and support to prevent and overcome persistent pain locally. We need a revolution because there's a large body of evidence to support a biopsychosocial model of pain care, but there's a gap in how this is practiced in the lives of people with pain and within the clinic. We need to change social norms and understanding around pain, work with community to redefine what best practice pain care looks like, and this can pave the way to improved pain outcomes. We're doing this by going directly to community and primary care, embedding capacity, prevention and early intervention, and empowering communities for change. The Pain Revolution projects currently are the Rural Outreach Tour, the Local Pain Educator Program, and the Local Pain Collectives project. The last one we'll focus on today because that's what this whole meeting's about. So it's really a chance for health professionals to get together from local communities, and the common thing that they share is the passion and concern and interest around pain. Our objective is to encourage consistent messaging around pain and pain care in communities, and also find out how we can best resource and support communities to make changes towards best practice pain care. This is nationwide. And we currently have 17 local pain collectives run by 27 facilitators. So we have us in Southwest, Clare in South Australia, a whole bunch of collectives in Victoria, Tasmania, and New South Wales. The target for 2022 is that we have 100 local pain collective events running around Australia. The events will look like either face-to-face or online. For us in the Southwest, because I'm in Adelaide or South Australia, the first half of the year, the events will be online. For the second half of the year, there'll be new facilitators coming on board, hopefully a live event in August. And then for the rest of the year, they'll work out maybe a combination of face-to-face and online. The sessions will run for 60 to 90 minutes. We're trialing monthly sessions at the moment, but depending on feedback, we might go back to bi-monthly as Abby ran. I guess this is really about embarking on a learning journey together, which might sound easy, but it can be hard. It really requires an open mind, time to reflect and contemplate and practice. Pain Revolution wants to enable, empower, and support each of us to continue to explore. So it's a process where we explore best practice pain care together as a community. And in that way, we can in turn enable, empower, and support our wider community. It can help to look at what the local pain collective is versus isn't. So our main role is around changing community norms and expectations. For a health professional, that might look like knowledge, education, skills, well-being, feelings of connectedness and belonging. To provide what we aim to provide our current understanding of pain, and then empower members of the collective to share their understanding of pain with their community. So we're not telling them how to treat people, but more looking at helping them to build skills and confidence to discuss pain with patients. The collective is also aimed at providing opportunities to build relationships and networks and feeling part of something that's bigger as a nationwide project. Our main role isn't advanced clinical skills or clinical application. It's not accreditation or certification, discipline-specific training or policy. We do have a directory that can point you in the right direction for more of a clinical application skills. I guess we can look at the essence of the local pain collective as about building a community of people that drive this big vision together around pain care and accessibility to pain care. So a great quote by Helen Keller: "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." I thought that's quite fitting for our group. So I'll stop sharing there and bring you back. I'll open up the floor for a bit of a discussion in a moment, but I just want to share some principles around how we host the sessions and also how we invite you to participate. So I'm going to read them. This is because I feel the education team has put a lot of effort into what these principles are, how they're worded, and they've really evolved over years of feedback from facilitators and participants. So this is a peer learning space. We are inviting you to learn and support each other in better understanding pain in order to better support you in your work. Some of what is shared here may be new information and offer a different perspective on pain than what you are familiar with. We invite you to sit and reflect on new information and consider how this can complement what you already know. We are a diverse group, and we acknowledge and respect all the different types of practitioners and disciplines here. We all hold the same objective, which is to better understand pain, and we can learn about that here from each other and together. You're invited to participate in a way that feels most comfortable to you, which may include reflecting on your own, sharing comments in the chat, or speaking verbally. All of these ways are welcome. When someone shares a story, it belongs to them and should not be taken away or repeated outside of this discussion. We recommend any personal stories to be shared with permission. We, as facilitators, are here to support this collective learning and want to help build community around the topic of pain care. We'll do our best to answer questions and offer additional resources where we can, but we remind you that there's still new information emerging on contemporary pain science and care, and we don't have all the answers just yet. Does anyone have any questions or comments about what's been shared so far? Feel free to take yourself off mute or pop something in the chat.
Hi, sorry, it's Maurice. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I don't know if everyone has introduced themselves or not, but I'm glad to be there and be part of the group. And yeah, I'm there to learn too. And I'm a psychologist, by the way.
I've more just done a bit of a spiel, which if you miss some of that, there'll be a recording so you can catch up on that. And yeah, we'll introduce ourselves to a partner in a moment in a breakout room. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have any other comments? Okay. So I'm going to get you to update your first name, profession, and preferred pronouns. So you can do that by hovering your mouse over your own video of yourself, and you should see a blue button with 3 dots. So click that, go down to rename, and then pop your first name in, your profession, and your preferred pronouns. So I've just done that there. Does that make sense to anyone? Let me know if it's not working for you. Yeah.
Can you do that if you're on your phone and not a desktop?
I think you can. Another way to do it is to go to the tab participants and then hover over your name in the participants list, and then click more or tap more, rename, and then the same process. Let me know if that method works.
This is new for me, doing it on my phone. So I went to the 3 dots, and then what were the instructions? Sorry.
So from the 3 dots, you can select rename. Don't worry too much if it doesn't work.
Sorry, it's not coming.
No, that's fine. Some people here are a bit more technical than me, so feel free to jump in if you have other suggestions.
There might be like a settings section down the bottom of your when you click on options.
Oh, yep, I'll try it.
Or you can click on your profile picture icon. But it probably doesn't matter if you're unable to do it.
Yeah. Oh, good. It's just a quick little exercise. Yeah, we might try it again another session, and I'll see if I can work on explaining it better.
Yeah, I'm on the phone and it did work through. So you first click on yourself on the image in the video, and then on participants,
Yeah.
and then on your name, and then rename is well, on mine, it came straight away as rename.
Okay, so that
And
did
then
work
that
on your phone. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good to know. All right. So I'm going to pop you all back on mute for a moment. So I'd like to now split you up into paired breakout rooms. You'll have 2 minutes each to say hello and share how you feel being involved in the local pain collective might support you in your work. I'll broadcast that task once you're in the rooms, and then halfway through, so 2 minutes in, we're keeping to very strict time here. So 2 minutes in, I'll broadcast that we're halfway, and you can switch partners or switch who's sharing. Does that all make sense? Yeah, cool. So I'll just find breakout room. We've got 10 participants. So I'll put you into groups of 5.
You mean 5 groups or groups of 5?
Oh, 5 groups of pairs, but it says that somebody's going to be left out because I'm included. So maybe I'll put it as 4 groups and see what happens. I might just join Marcy or move to group 1. Okay, let's see how this goes. Welcome back.
Thanks for having us back.
So does anyone from that little activity have something that they want to report or share back to the group? Something that was interesting that they were sort of discussing or sharing with their partner? You can bring yourself off mute, or you can pop little message in the chat.
I was just saying to Kevin that I just referenced him in my blog that I had to do online.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a strange, must have been a strange moment for Sarah. That's never happened to me before, so it's quite exciting. But Sarah was talking about how she's just started a social netball team with the physio practice down in Busso, which is really cool.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, you probably didn't expect someone to pop into our chat from Perth, did you? Great. Anyone else have anything to share?
Just want to say I'm very happy that there is a psychologist in the group. The more, the better.
Yeah, of course.
And yes, I did realize that Kevin, it rang a bell. Kevin, sorry, name this. I think I've seen this guy. Yes, of course, and Power Beyond Pain. Yes, of course.
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to introduce you to the essential pain facts now with a video by our CEO, Professor Lorimer Moseley. So the essential pain facts are going to form the structure for the sessions over the next half a year, or 4 sessions. So we'll watch the video and then we'll come back together and have some time to talk about it and to brainstorm some ideas. So I'll pop you all on mute again and just share my screen. This time you'll see a YouTube video, and pop the sound on. So I'm just sharing that. Everyone can see it before I enlarge it? Yeah, cool. So here we go. We'll come back together in about 20 minutes.
G'day, welcome to a whirlwind tour of the 4 essential pain facts. My name's Lorimer Moseley. I'm a pain scientist, educator and clinician at the University of South Australia and part of this fantastic pain revolution adventure. I'm standing now on the land of the Kaurna people in the plains of Adelaide in South Australia. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging in the connection they have with the land and the waters around here, and to all First Nations people. If you've come across this talk and pain revolution on your journey, welcome. I also want to make some declarations because it's really important when you do what I do, which is knowledge generation and dissemination, that whoever I'm talking to understands what's in it for me. So I get royalties if someone buys a book that I've written, and most relevant to this talk is the work that I've done, and my expenses have been paid, or occasionally I've been paid a consultancy fee in the area of pain education, health education. So Reality Health, which is a virtual reality platform, Noi Group, who publish the books, Connect Health, I'm on their medical advisory group for the Flipping Pain campaign. So that's really important that you know that. I'll try to be really careful to make it clear when any of those things specifically come up. Have a look at this image. Hopefully what you see when you look at this image is 3 reasonably attractive people upside down. Now, if you keep looking at it, you'll notice that when they're the right way up, they actually look really odd, really weird. Take a look at it again. You can't really make these 3 people look bad upside down. So this illusion, if you like, is an example of what your brain is doing when it sees a face and it recognizes aspects of that face and says, oh, that's all good. All of our perceptions fundamentally depend on the meaning that we are attributing to sensory input that we are receiving. And it depends on what we've learned from the past. Now, pain's no different to that. And I think, and Pain Revolution is, I guess, based on this, this presumption that it is critical that how we understand pain is as accurate as possible, because pain is a perception that depends on meaning. Learning a modern view of how pain works is associated with recovery. Now, this is a really exciting finding. It sounds easier than it is. But these are data, half of these data were presented in a paper published some time ago by Hope and Lee, and that paper looked at what mediates the effect of pain knowledge gain on pain outcomes. I'm not telling you about that analysis. We now have a group of 1,600 people who have been followed. And over the course of a year, in those people who reconceptualize their understanding of how pain works, they have a really good outcome 12 months later. So the pain level over a year in those who learn a modern view of how pain works drops on average from 5 out of 10 to 1 out of 10. Now that's a fantastic outcome for a chronic pain group. But we have to concede that this is what happens to the pain level over a year in those who don't learn a modern view of pain. Nothing. This tells us that learning a modern view of pain, of how pain works, is associated with recovery. It also tells us that we need to do better, because we're only seeing this shift in understanding in about half of the people in this cohort. So learning a modern view of how pain works is associated with recovery, written across the top. The main point here, learning a modern view of how pain works enables consumers to make optimal decisions about their management and recovery as well. And I think that's a really important aspect of the literature, and a fundamental component of how Pain Revolution wants to drive change, to enable consumers, empower them, excite them, to make optimal decisions about themselves. But learning a modern view of how pain works is difficult. There's no doubt that it is difficult to learn. And imparting, us as health professionals, imparting a modern view of how pain works is also difficult. The what, the how, and the who is involved in imparting a modern understanding of pain has changed drastically since modern pain education emerged. One thing that's really clear is the who is all of us. It's you and it's me, and it's the clinical networks that Pain Revolution is helping to support. And more than that, it's the people outside of those networks. We clearly need to be on the same page, community level education. The what of modern pain education has also undergone some significant change. And this speaks now directly to these 4 essential pain facts. So over the last 11 years, we've been asking consumers who have recovered to some degree or complete recovery from a chronic pain disorder, we asked them this question: what did you learn that was most important for your recovery? Now, there's a lot of data in here. 350 consumers have participated in this. I'll move the little picture of me so you can see it's over 11 years. Always focused on what are the learnings from the perspective of a consumer about pain, and also, I guess, about pain education. In amongst that, 36 scientists and clinicians from 6 scientific disciplines and 7 clinical disciplines have been involved in working, checking for accuracy, trialing these iterations of important learnings. And at the end of that process, there's a lot of data in the background, but we've got to the other end of this funnel, which has spat out 9 target concepts. And Pain Revolution has made fact sheets around each of these target concepts, and you will have access, or you already have access to these fact sheets. The first, pain is always real, and the second, learn more about your pain, are really important for us as clinicians, as well as they are for consumers. The next is the idea that pain doesn't equal tissue damage, and this is a very difficult thing to get your own head around, and a very difficult thing to impart. Pain equals protection. That can be a bit more intuitive. Pain depends on context. Where are we? Who are we with? What's going on around us? pain and your protector meter. So this idea of an internal protection meter that is constantly evaluating threat to you as a person. And when you need to do something, the system creates motivatory feelings like pain that make you do something to protect yourself. Your overprotective pain system, there are now a lot of data and very compelling data to show that your pain system learns how to get better at producing pain. The good news, you can retrain your pain system to be less protective again. And critical to this is being proactive about your pain. So not only active, as in physical activity, but cognitive activity, but being proactive and being curious are important components of recovery. So all of these points have been turned into Pain Revolution fact sheets and broadly mapped to the learnings that consumers have identified as being important to recovery. So there they are along in the horizontal line. And we went to an advertising and marketing firm and said, what's the best way to get these across? And they said, there's too many. And they helped distill these into 4 key messages. And these were the 4 key messages. Number 1, pain protects us and promotes healing. Number 2, persistent pain overprotects us and prevents recovery. Number 3, many factors influence pain. And number 4, there are many ways to reduce pain and promote recovery. So we took these 4 key messages then to 540 members of the general public with the question, what should we call these key messages? They said, call them the essential pain facts. So that's where we are. These are the 4 essential pain facts. Let's look a little bit more closely at them. But the idea of what Pain Revolution is doing is giving healthcare professionals confidence, knowledge, practice at imparting the understanding held in these 4 key essential pain facts. So by no means do we expect that after this whirlwind tour, it will all be dandy inside your head and you'll be completely confident imparting that understanding as well. But let me give you a bit more on each of them. So pain protects us and promotes healing. The old view of pain, which is actually still the dominant view, is that, for example, you tread on a drawing pin like this toe has, there's a process that occurs between that and you experiencing toe pain.
Sorry.
The old view was quite simple and very linear and intuitively sensible. We might have pain receptors or damage detectors, perhaps, that send a message to the brain and the brain recognizes, oh, there's pain in my toe, and therefore implies, and pain's traveling up my body. Now, most of you, when you hear that second clarifier, will think, oh, well, I know it's not pain traveling up, it's neural signals traveling up. But the dominant model remains this sort of stimulus response, pretty predictable pattern. The modern view of pain incorporates a vast amount of research into the biological mechanisms involved when someone has pain. And that comes from lots of research groups, lots of research techniques, clinical observations, animal studies, human studies. The point of this figure is to say it is so complex. What happens between treading on that drawing pin and experiencing pain is a very complex and dynamic situation, which is why we can have experiences like this. So if you had your finger squeezed and the event, the actual squeeze is always the same, but there are 3 different conditions. One is you're squeezing your own finger. The next one is a friend is squeezing your finger. And the last one is it's a stranger. Now, the old view would suggest that in those 3 events, it produces the same pain because we have pain or damage detectors that send a message and you recognize there is pain. Now, you all know where I'm going with this because this is not what we see if we did this experiment. We would see this scenario. So the modern view says, in response to the question, how much do these 3 scenarios hurt when the event is always exactly the same, the squeeze? Well, it depends. It depends on risk. So it will hurt the least if you're doing the squeezing. It will hurt a little bit more if a friend is, and a little bit more again if a stranger is. So the old view of pain said pain is about detection of damage. The new view of pain is about protection from damage. And how does pain promote healing? Well, the main way it promotes healing is by sophisticated, rapid, and complex mechanisms at a tissue level, so that when there is damage or inflammation, the protective buffer offered by pain is rapidly and substantially increased. So now you can't even put weight on your ankle as it hurts your ankle sprain. That amount of weight is not at all dangerous, but it's painful. So the safety buffer provided by this glorious biological evolution promotes healing, prevents all mechanical forces coming through that tissue as it starts the healing process. So essential pain fact number one is that pain protects us and promotes healing. The second one, persistent pain overprotects us and prevents recovery. Well, we now know from decades of research across biological sciences that organisms like us can't stop changing. We are actually always changing. So much so that we now subscribe to this idea we call it bioplasticity, and that is encompasses the brain and body having an irresistible drive to change. So we need to try and harness that change to move in the right direction. There are a lot of examples of bioplasticity and the drive for change, like learning a new skill, getting weaker with bed rest, becoming stiffer, feeling more stiff as you do less, your bones changing shape over time, you develop habits, you develop immunity to a virus, you become an expert meditator, become an expert anything, you worry more easily. Or you might develop a callus. All of these things are examples of change, the irresistible drive of your brain and body to change, getting fitter, getting stronger. So in the pain system, we can talk about this as learning. And learning occurs all over the pain system. It occurs here in the spinal cord, where signals are processed. It occurs up here in the lower part of the brain. It occurs within the frontal cortex and the parietal cortex. It occurs everywhere. Learning occurs all over the pain production system. It is no surprise at all, therefore, that persisting pain is overprotective and prevents recovery. Exactly the same increase in buffer can be mediated without any inflammation and with tissues healed. And we now call that pain system hypersensitivity. And that label, again, was suggested by those 540 general public members, what to call this massive safety buffer produced by learning within the pain system. They said, call it pain system hypersensitivity. So the old view is that persisting pain signals unresolved injury. The new view is that persisting pain overprotects us and prevents recovery. The third essential pain fact, many factors influence pain. In exactly the same way as learning occurs all over the biology that underpins pain, contributors to pain occur at each of these access points. And there are many, many access points. So another way of thinking about that is right across the biopsychosocial domain. So one of the great connections between modern neuroscience and clinical practice that's now 50 years old, clinical models proposed by George Engel in the 60s, is that they both subscribe to this biopsychosociality of pain. So really, pain is occurring at the intersection of all of these components. If we look at it from a biological perspective, contributions to pain can come from all of those access points, from all of these domains. The third essential pain fact, many factors influence pain. The final essential pain fact, there are many ways to reduce pain and promote recovery. Now, we've already addressed the first component of that, because all of those access points can turn pain up and can turn pain down. So there are immediately a whole range of things that people can do to turn down their pain. And if they practice them, they get better at them. And we now know that this is a pathway to recovery. Exactly the same access points, turning pain up can turn pain down. And remembering that the brain and body have this irresistible drive to change means that change is actually unstoppable. But how we change is the key question. How can we help consumers construct their journey through this principle of irresistible drive for change. We know they can, and we know that understanding is a critical prerequisite of this journey. And these are the understanding key points, or the access points for what do people who have recovered think are the most important messages. And here they are. Pain protects us, and I'll move me again. Pain protects us and promotes healing. Persisting pain overprotects us and prevents recovery. Many factors influence pain, and there are many ways to reduce pain and retrain your pain system towards normal. These are the essential pain facts. So there are 4 things that we now know to be true. Imparting this understanding, actually getting this understanding ourselves is difficult. Imparting this understanding is also difficult. So together we'd say this whole thing is usually difficult. And this whole thing can actually be fun. And this whole thing is often rewarding. And we now know empirical data suggests, or tells us clearly, this whole thing can transform lives. And we'd actually say this whole thing can be lots of fun. This is often rewarding in a deep in the belly kind of way. And this can transform lives, not just your patients' lives, the consumers and the people challenged by pain, but your life as a healthcare professional committed to doing your best for your community and your patients. Getting a handle on this yourself and imparting it and coaching people towards recovery journeys is transformative, truly transformative. Thanks again for tapping into Pain Revolution. Certainly, we are excited about what people like you are doing in rural and regional Australia and for vulnerable groups. And I really just want to encourage you to have persistence and to have patience and to have courage and get alongside each other as you take on this journey. Bon voyage.
All right, I'll stop sharing. So as a bit of an icebreaker, I'd like you to pop in the chat a one-word reaction to the video we just watched on the essential pain facts. I've just put a little reminder there in the chat. So yeah, see if you can narrow it down. Yeah, motivating. Inspiring. Yeah, great. I felt that. Comforting. Hope. Headache. I hope that's what you were feeling, not a reaction. It might be though. All reactions are welcome. Doubt, yeah. Great, keep them coming. But I'll open up the floor to verbal kind of chat as well. So if you want to bring yourself off mute and share something about the video, it might be about the way you feel we need to explore these essential pain facts within our collective. So a bit of a brainstorm as to how we might do that in a fun and engaging way. Also, if you have any questions, we can start to try and answer them as a group. And also you can think beyond the essential pain facts maybe what you would like included in these meetings in the second half of the year beyond the essential pain facts. So yeah, you can keep contributing via chat. Okay, headache is a consequence of the doubt. Yeah, I get that. Hopefully we can balance it out as we go through the year. So yeah, feel free to put your hand up and share your questions or suggestions.
Nice. Hello there. So obviously Lorimer is a brilliant communicator. And he's had a really nice presentation he's put together there, and he wraps that up in such a nice package. I missed the first half of your presentations, apologies. Was there talk about some fact sheets and tools that are a bit more interactive that we could use with our clientele as we go across this program across the next few months? Is that?
The first half of the session, I sort of more outlined kind of an orientation or an introduction to how the sessions run and some guidelines for me as a presenter and for you as a participant. It will be recorded, so you can look back over that. We will definitely include links to any resources that we talk about during the session. So that might be Pain Revolution specific resources like the target concepts, which you can find on the website. I'll include that at the end. And anything else that we come up, I'll come up with as a group. I'll endeavour to find the links and yeah, whether that's practical or theoretical, we can then include that in the summary email. Does that help?
Yeah, well, that's the idea. I think, you know, having a broader range of clinicians using the same essential pain facts and then tailoring that to the individual, and then resources to support that. I guess sometimes, I don't know about other clinicians, but I might find it gets a bit wordy on my end or a bit tongue-tied, and sometimes visual stuff's good or something to interact with, or yeah, like that protectometer book and things like this, just other ways to convey a concept or buy-in or yeah. But
yeah, for sure. Avi's got her hand up.
I thought I'd just add to that, Sean. I'm kind of coordinating all the collectives around Australia. So we've got 19. We've increased from 2 to 7, Mika. Yeah, which is exciting. And just to reiterate that these local pain collectives sessions, yeah, I just wanted to, I really heard your point about Loz's amazing ability to entertain and motivate. And I've watched that video 4 times now, and every time I'm like drawn to it. But the idea is that he will actually be presenting these videos over the next 4 sessions. And the hope is that we've created enough space in the curriculum for us to come up with solutions and ways and ideas together. Because I feel that we've got a really good handle on what our context is and how much time we have, and yeah, interested in hearing other people's ideas and ways they go about delivering these key messages. So I just wanted to add that. I hope that's helpful.
That's great. Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, I think, I mean, from my perspective, obviously, when I see clients, I've got a little bit more time maybe than the physios to talk about things and try to go a little bit more into details about what Lorimer has explained. What I find sometimes hard as well is that, you know, some of those clients are on heavy painkillers and other type of medication, or have a hard time because of the pain they are in sometimes to follow up what you're talking about, even during, especially if the sessions are, you know, usually 50 minutes. So I find sometimes difficult to have enough time. I'm talking and I'm explaining and we exchange, and there's different way of going about that to get the client to reflect and all these type of things. But the thing is, they go home and I don't, because they're in so much pain and the medication, I don't think it necessarily register. So the fact that there's that issue, but there's also the fact that if I work with physios or OTs or other people who are repeating the same message in the same way, I think this has a bigger impact, and it's easier for the client to eventually incorporate what is happening there and the learning they need to have to then make decision and build up their motivations and start to think differently and rewire their brain essentially about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think, I mean, if we can all have really consistent messaging helped by getting together like this and looking at the hard work that, say, Pain Revolution are doing to make it even more simple, so they're coming down from the 9 target concepts to 4 overarching essential pain facts. There's still complexity in there, but we can start to see how maybe we can share it with our patients more simply, backed by visuals or backed by common words that they then, yeah, as you said, get to see across the board from different health professionals. Anyone have anything else to share?
Can I just ask a quick question to the group in its entirety? I was just wondering, without commenting too much on my doubts and my headaches, just wondering if, does anybody, do we all feel, I guess everybody's aware that what we're discussing here, the facts that we are communicating are still are not rocket sciences. There are a lot of debate, and there is a lot of still a lot of debate about how to interpret pain and a lot of things. So if everybody is comfortable with the fact that we are spreading facts that are still seen through a lens of somebody who has his own ideas about pain, and all the group, Laura Mer and David and etc. There are other views that have given their different spin. We have the privilege to have maybe a stronger voice because of the infrastructure that Laura Mer, with its capacity and its resources and its funding, has the ability to put at our for us to leverage. So I guess, in short, I was wondering if everybody feels any discomfort at the idea that we are communicating these as facts, like the sun is still there and the earth goes around it, but not everybody agrees. Not everybody agrees with these things. Not everybody thinks that they don't even think that pain is a perception. But we don't need to get into academia here. Just wondering if everybody, what's your way, if you have any tips to sit more comfortably with it.
I really appreciate your deep thinking there. And I think I have felt this too, in that what we know now is just the best we know, and that might be as an individual or as an organization. And I think we may know different facts down the line. So in that way, yeah, we are using the word fact very confidently, but also knowing that new information may come up. Yeah, that was my initial thought when you were sharing that. Does anyone else want to jump in? We've just got another sort of minute of sharing, and then I'll close the meeting. So yeah, if anyone wants to add a brief comment, and we can continue this via email, or even draw this discussion into one of the other sessions.
Yeah, I was just wondering, were you talking about us as clinician presenting that as facts? Are we talking about, are we presenting this and maybe people have different views about all this, which, you know, that would be expected. And we can only work with, you know, so much within that space. At the end of the day, everybody's got their own belief and, you know, and even knowledge about research in general and where it's at. So sometimes we are limited by that, by the clients, but also our own belief as well. So I guess we need to also think about this in this context and keep updated, like Mika was saying, you know, we're discovering all the time. I mean, in any science, you can find, you will find that, oh, you know, we believed this 20 years ago and now we believe this. Might be completely different in 20 years again. Yes, we have to accept that too.
Look, I think the fact that they've chunked up to a fairly high level allows a lot of latitude for us to evolve around them as well. I don't think they're too specific, and therefore I think that is both pleasantly simple for all concerned, but I think it also it enables us to fill in the details as well as we get a clearer understanding of some of those other elements which are grey at the moment. So I think to articulate them as being the most clearly understood concepts, which is perhaps consensus or moving towards consensus at present is good. And I think it's okay to sort of reflect that there's an evolving process, but if we're not clear and we're too sort of, it could be this and it could be that, and I think people are more likely to get perhaps confused and think they may not have as much confidence, I think, in the messaging that's delivered. So I think there is some beauty and simplicity in that regard, and keeping it chunked up and in patient language probably means we're not having to dive too much into the minutiae, which is going to be some of the areas where we're going to see sort of, a new revolution of thought as the time goes by.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I think not everyone is going to be ready to take on what we want to share, and they may need time, and they may also need us to work with them in their paradigm, and maybe to think creatively around how we share the facts or what is the consensus at the moment. But it's about having the conversation first within a clinical circle and then with our community as well. So I might need to start to wrap up now because I'd like to finish sort of on time. I'll just pop you all back on mute. And I would love to continue these discussions kind of in the other sessions, and I'll put a little bit of a summary together. So thank you so much for joining this evening. Our next topic is the first essential pain fact: pain protects and promotes healing. That will be on Tuesday, the 12th of April, 6 to 7 p.m. again. I apologize in advance for the overload of emails, but I'm going to send through 3 invites for the next 3 sessions tomorrow. And then I will send a reminder 1 week out and then 1 day before. And please feel free to share these invites with your colleagues or others that you might think will enjoy participating. Before the next session, I'd like to invite you to spend some time thinking about the first essential pain fact: pain protects and promotes healing. The target concepts for this include pain is always real, pain and tissue damage rarely relate, and pain equals protection. So take some time to reflect on your personal and professional experiences and consider when you might have witnessed pain protect and promote healing, and write down an experience that demonstrates this for you. There'll be an opportunity next session to share and discuss this. So I'm going to copy and paste my email if you need to contact me, and also the Pain Revolution website if you need to look anything up there. So that's just in the chat. And yeah, I really enjoyed that, my first session. Nice to have Abby along in the background too. And I really look forward to the next 6 months before I hand over to the up and coming facilitators. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Mika. See you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
See you all.
Thanks, Kev.
Bye.
Thanks, Mika. Well done.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. See you next time, everyone. Lovely to meet you.
See you, Marcy.
Thanks, mate. Enjoyed it. Bye.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Mika. Thanks for everything. Sorry, I was
No
just that text that I sent you. I thought that would have been the.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna go through it another time.
Yes. Yeah. See ya.